Japanese automakers Honda and Nissan have announced plans to join forces, forming the world's third largest automaker by sales. The two companies signed a memorandum of understanding this morning, with a smaller Nissan alliance member, Mitsubishi Motors, also agreeing to join the talks.
Honda has just shaken the world with a groundbreaking announcement that could change the future of electric vehicles forever. The company's CEO has unveiled a revolutionary all-solid-state battery capable of fully charging in just 10 minutes.
The all-solid-state battery, with high energy density and stable characteristics, is expected to be a game-changer that accelerates the adoption of electric vehicles.
A feat that seemed impossible until now. Could this be the breakthrough that makes electric cars the undeniable future of transportation? The future of driving might arrive sooner than we ever imagined. Why traditional lithium-ion fell short. Before diving into Honda's new battery breakthrough, it's worth taking a closer look at why lithium-ion technology, once heralded as the gold standard, started feeling outdated for large-scale electric mobility. Lithium-ion cells first caught on in portable electronics, propelling the rise of smartphones, laptops, and other gadgets we rely on daily. They delivered a decent balance of energy density, cost, and reliability at a consumer scale. For a while, laptops running for hours and phones lasting nearly a day felt like magic. However, when automakers attempted to scale up lithium-ion packs for full-sized electric vehicles, several limitations became hard to ignore. First, there's the issue of safety.
Video filmed by Jacob Arm shows smoke pouring from the building before a large explosion followed by a smaller one. The fire was sparked at a lithium-ion battery processing plant owned by Critical Mineral Recovery.
Lithium-ion batteries typically use a liquid or gel electrolyte that ferries ions from one electrode to another. That mild-sounding liquid is actually flammable, which creates a potential risk of overheating and, in the worst cases, fires or explosions. Though battery fires are rare, they grab headlines when they happen, and the mere possibility of a thermal runaway event made engineers cautious about how fast or how often these batteries could be charged. Beyond safety, lithium-ion batteries also hit a ceiling in terms of how quickly they can be refilled with energy. Charging too quickly forces ions through the cell at a pace that can degrade the battery or create localized heating hotspots. That's why typical electric vehicle owners factor in the possibility of waiting anywhere from a half hour to a few hours to top off their battery, especially under less than ideal conditions. For someone accustomed to a 5-minute gas station stop, this slower charging speed still feels like a step backward. There's also the matter of energy density, how much juice you can fit in a given volume or weight. Lithium-ion packs are relatively heavy, and while they perform decently, they can't match the energy density of advanced solid-state cells that exist in research labs. A heavier battery reduces an EV's range and affects driving dynamics, sometimes forcing automakers to compromise on design. Plus, these batteries degrade over time, meaning EV owners may experience diminishing driving range as the vehicle ages. Honda, with its background in methodical innovation, had been quietly assessing these next-generation battery technologies for years.
Since Honda founded its Marysville plant more than 40 years ago, they've witnessed a massive evolution in technology. And now they'll become the first Honda plant globally to assemble battery packs for their new fleet of electric vehicles.
Once it became evident that lithium-ion cells couldn't keep up with the growing demands for quicker and safer charging, Honda saw an opening for something radically different. In adopting solid-state cells, the brand aimed not just to fix small irritations, but to elevate electric mobility to a level that could surpass traditional vehicles in nearly every category. And the first glimpses of Honda's new battery concept, charging in just about 10 minutes, was enough to capture the attention of the entire auto industry. A legacy built on innovation. While many storied companies have introduced iconic models, Honda's identity revolves around the act of engineering itself. The brand might be best known for the Civic, Accord, or CR-V, but behind those roads is a culture that prioritizes thoughtful problem-solving. From the early days, Soichiro Honda's philosophy was that a mechanic's intuition should guide development as much as marketing analyses or boardroom decisions. This down-to-earth approach shaped the entire company, leading to real-world solutions rather than half-baked gimmicks. In the 1970s, while other companies were dabbling with ideas to meet stricter emissions regulations, Honda introduced the CVCC engine, which was so clean it met the standards without needing a catalytic converter. Engineering feats like that helped cement its reputation as a forward-thinking brand willing to question traditional methods. Jump ahead a few decades, and Honda was one of the first to seriously invest in hybrid systems, releasing models like the Insight, which challenged the notion that hybrids had to be impractical or clunky. This thread of sustainability and innovation carried forward into the 21st century, culminating in experiments with hydrogen fuel cell vehicles like the Honda Clarity.
This is the 2017 Honda Clarity fuel cell vehicle. It runs exclusively on hydrogen, which means its only emission is water.
Yes, the infrastructure for hydrogen still lags behind, but the important thing was that Honda kept broadening its horizons. Whether it was building robots like Asimo or developing almost silent leaf blowers, the company's R&D portfolio stretched far beyond just making engines. But a crucial difference in Honda's approach is its refusal to hype a technology until it's confident in the data. That caution can sometimes come across as conservatism, especially in an auto market that loves bold promises. Yet for Honda enthusiasts, it's validating to see that when the company commits to something, it's rarely a hollow PR stunt. This faith in engineering thoroughness is crucial as the conversation shifts entirely to electric vehicles. Drivers who rely on Honda products for daily commuting or family road trips expect more than flashy announcements. They want reliability that endures for years. When Honda first hinted that it was diving into all-solid-state battery technology, many industry watchers took notice. Some were excited, others skeptical. Could the brand that's famous for dependable gasoline engines and reliable hybrids truly master the complexities of a next-generation battery cell? As more details trickled out, including the possibility of a 10-minute full recharge, it became clear that this was no fleeting experiment. It was a natural progression of Honda's obsession with tackling engineering problems head-on, and it promised to reshape not just the Honda lineup, but the landscape of electric mobility itself. The all-solid-state breakthrough unveiled. The spotlight turned to Honda when it announced its all-solid-state batteries capable of charging in around 10 minutes. That time frame was faster than almost anyone could have imagined for an EV. Instead of focusing on a marginal improvement, Honda's approach felt like a quantum leap, addressing every key point that typically deters would-be EV buyers: sluggish charging, nagging safety worries, and concerns about longevity. In traditional lithium-ion cells, ions move through a liquid or gel electrolyte, which can be prone to overheating or leaking if something goes wrong. By contrast, in Honda's new setup, the electrolyte is entirely solid. While the details of the composition remain guarded like any cutting-edge technology, we know that its stable structure significantly lowers the risk of fire and allows for faster ion flow under certain conditions. That's the foundation for why these batteries can recharge so quickly without incurring damage. Behind this release, Honda poured resources into perfecting the manufacturing steps necessary to produce these solid cells at scale. Making one or two batteries in a lab under pristine conditions is one thing. Churning out thousands or millions with consistent quality is far more daunting. Each cell must be pressed or layered in a manner that leaves no room for impurities or microscopic gaps. Honda's background in highly automated manufacturing lines and quality control gave it an advantage here. Although some details remain under wraps, the company's official statements emphasize how these batteries pack more power into a smaller form factor than the lithium-ion packs used in most existing electric cars. That means a future Honda EV could potentially weigh less while driving farther, or keep the same weight and size but boost range significantly. Either outcome helps address what many see as the Achilles heel of EVs: range anxiety. This tech isn't just about speed or range either. By removing the flammable element of a liquid electrolyte, the battery can handle more stress without risking a meltdown. It's a major selling point for concerned consumers who might have hesitated to buy an electric car, and it might even help automakers cut back on the elaborate cooling systems typical of today's EVs, thus saving costs and weight in future models. With that, Honda's triple punch of speed, safety, and energy density was finally on full display. Fast charging and greater energy density.
The Clarity Electric is also equipped with DC fast charging capability that will provide Clarity with an 80% charge in under 30 minutes, making it desirable for those times when you may want a fast, on-the-go charge.
At the heart of this shift away from lithium-ion technology is a higher energy density that opens up huge possibilities for electric mobility. Simply put, packing greater energy into each cell translates to more miles on a single charge. That alone can be a game changer. For electric vehicles, range tends to be the first statistic prospective buyers check before considering anything else. People want to ensure they can drive to work, run errands, and do weekend road trips without feeling like they're constantly hunting for charging stations. But the real showstopper here is the potential for a full recharge in about 10 minutes. That timescale isn't just an incremental improvement. It's the difference between planning an entire day around a charging schedule and having a pit stop about as long as filling a car with gas or even grabbing coffee. While some advanced lithium-ion systems claim partial recharge times of about 15 or 20 minutes, an all-solid-state design could dramatically reduce those intervals because it can handle higher charging currents without risking the battery's longevity. Though we often focus on how this faster charging benefits personal cars, it can also re-envision public infrastructure. Think about how typical EV charging stations can either be slow level 2 units in parking lots or more robust level 3 DC fast chargers, where you still wait half an hour or more. If an all-solid-state battery truly charges in 10 minutes, it might allow charging stations to operate at a higher turnover, meaning more vehicles served in the same time frame. That effectively deals with the queue problem many EV owners dread, waiting in line behind a half-dozen cars just to plug in. Higher energy density also offers opportunities for non-automotive markets. Imagine a drone that can stay in the air significantly longer, or a smartphone that could last several days on a single charge. Honda's publicly stated focus is still on automotive applications, but these batteries could filter into consumer electronics, power tools, and even the renewable energy sector. For wind and solar farms, being able to store more electricity in a given volume could address the intermittent nature of these energy sources. Of course, the big question is how to balance ultra-fast charging with battery lifespan. Engineering has trade-offs, and pushing a cell to accept energy too quickly can cause wear and tear. Yet Honda's stance is that the inherent stability of a solid electrolyte helps mitigate these issues. If it can hold steady after thousands of charge cycles, then owners won't face the dreaded battery replacement bill, something that eats into the cost advantage of electric vehicles. In short, the promise goes beyond just speed. It might also make the nuts and bolts economics of EV ownership more palatable in the long run. Safety in a solid package. Even the short list of potential benefits with Honda's new design would be incomplete without highlighting safety. While it's easy to get carried away with talk of record-setting charge times or extended range, many people, especially families, care first and foremost about whether a new technology is stable and secure to use. Traditional lithium-ion cells aren't exactly ticking time bombs, but the presence of flammable liquid electrolytes poses a hazard. Puncturing or overcharging them can lead to leaks, fires, or even explosions in extreme cases. All solid-state batteries reduce that risk substantially because, as the name implies, the electrolyte is a solid material. With no liquid content to leak or catch fire, the chance of thermal runaway is drastically lower. Honda has put added emphasis on this, signaling that it wants to remove any lingering worries about mechanical or electrical failures. It's not just about sparing the company from recalls and the negative publicity that comes with them. It's about giving drivers peace of mind. Durability goes hand in hand with safety. A poorly made battery that degrades quickly can also become a hazard. But if the chemistry is more stable and can withstand different temperature ranges, vibrations, and repeated charging cycles, you're looking at a design that's inherently more robust. Honda's vehicles have always found success partly because they hold up under day-to-day abuse, taking on potholes, harsh weather, and extended stops and starts. The all-solid-state battery could follow this same pattern, ensuring robust performance out on the highways and within crowded city streets. Another hidden advantage is the potential reduction of complex cooling systems. Currently, EVs rely on sophisticated thermal management solutions to keep lithium-ion batteries at safe operating temperatures. By removing or simplifying these systems, automakers can reduce manufacturing complexity, possibly cut production costs, and even free up space for other features. It's one more step toward making EVs simpler and more attractive to the average driver who might not want to worry about battery temperature readouts. All of these factors, faster charging, greater range, and more robust safety, tie into the ecological aspect too. A battery that's less prone to accidents and that lasts longer needs fewer replacements over the vehicle's lifespan, which means less waste. And while EVs are already cleaner than their fossil fuel counterparts, better battery longevity will strengthen their environmental advantages, helping reduce resource consumption tied to manufacturing and recycling. For Honda, this supports its image of a greener, more sustainable automotive future, competing on a new battlefield. In typical Honda fashion, the company's announcements about 10-minute charging times and all-solid-state breakthroughs were carefully measured. But the rest of the automotive world and the broader tech industry heard the news loud and clear. Giants like Tesla have historically pushed the envelope with lithium-ion solutions, achieving higher energy densities and lower production costs than many thought possible. Toyota, another Japanese powerhouse, has also spoken publicly of its own solid-state battery plans, aiming for a major leap in performance. Meanwhile, corporations like Samsung dabble in everything from consumer electronics to EV battery research, making them potential heavy hitters in this space. Startups like QuantumScape are exclusively focused on next-generation battery designs, claiming lab results showing dramatic improvements in charge time and capacity. These younger players benefit from nimble teams and a singular mission. However, they usually lack the massive manufacturing infrastructure that legacy automakers like Honda possess. Scaling up from prototypes to a 1 million vehicle production run is a different beast entirely, and that's where major automakers have a definite edge. Honda's approach could set it apart from high-profile but risk-taking contenders. Instead of making grandiose statements right off the bat, Honda tests, refines, and tests again. This method extends the timeline for product launches, but often pays off in the form of vehicles that rarely see major recalls or catastrophic failures. In the battery game, such caution might be an advantage, since any major production flaw in a new battery design could be financially devastating. Of course, there's no guarantee that Honda's lead in this area will remain permanent. The pace of battery innovation is notoriously fast, and new breakthroughs can come from anywhere. A small lab in Silicon Valley, a tech giant in South Korea, or a well-funded automotive research center in Germany. The challenge for Honda is to stay consistent with its strategy, balancing innovation with practicality, while forging partnerships or alliances if necessary. With so much at stake, no major player wants to be left behind in what could be the most significant shift in automotive engineering in a century. The Pope is one of the most revered people on Earth, so it is not surprising that the whole world came to a halt after His Holiness suddenly released an alarming message. Many believe this message is timely and a divine revelation from God Himself. While there are skeptics about the source, the message itself cannot be denied. What shocking message did Pope Francis have for the world this time? Join us as we reveal the alarming message Pope Francis shared that has caught the attention of the whole world. Pope Francis's alarming message. Recently, a message people claim was from Pope Francis has been quickly spreading around WhatsApp and other social media sites. With its urgent tone and clear call to action, it has caused a lot of trouble among Catholics and other people around the world. The message talks about how worried the Pope is about battles getting worse in different parts of the world, and stresses the need for everyone to pray together to stop more bad things from happening. While the WhatsApp message has caused a lot of debate, the Pope's plea can also be found on the Vatican's website. This makes it clear that the Pope wants to bring people together spiritually for peace. The word being passed around starts with inviting priests and believers alike to pray together. There's more. God has moved Pope Francis to encourage more people to pray, especially the Holy Rosary. The message says the Pope has asked the church doors to stay open and people to pray together before the chapel. This call stresses the importance of praying for peace in places where wars are still going on, naming the Middle East, Ukraine, and Crimea as areas of worry. The main objective is to ask God for forgiveness, give world leaders the Holy Spirit, and show them how to choose peace over war. This message is very powerful because it is clear and simple. It gives clear directions for everyone to take some time daily and pray the Our Father and Hail Mary 3 times no matter where they are. There is even a prayer for the Holy Trinity to break up and stop the bad forces that control and trap the world. Many people like this organized method because it makes the call to prayer easy for everyone, no matter where they are or what time it is. The Pope's call is not just for religious leaders or devoted followers, but for everyone on the planet. People have different thoughts about the WhatsApp message. Some people have fully embraced it, telling many about it and committing to the prayer practice. Other people have questioned its authenticity, wondering if it does reflect what the Pope said, or if it was made up as it went viral online. But a similar message sent through the official Vatican website has given the post more weight. Pope Francis talks about the dangers the world is facing today on the Vatican website. He focuses on how peace, unity, and kindness are being lost. Not only does he ask people to pray for peace, but he also asks them to care for the poor, sick, and hurt, which reminds us of the importance of service and empathy. The Pope's message on the Vatican website is very serious, which fits with how serious the situation is. He talks about how people are becoming more divided and how greed and evil cast a dark shadow over the world. He talks about how spiritual help is needed to eliminate this sadness and how Mary, Queen of the Rosary, can symbolize hope and direction. The Pope thinks people can improve their faith and help fight the forces that spread violence and hatred by praying. Pope Francis wants people to be united in their faith and actions as the message spreads. He wants to unite people spiritually against the chaos in the world by asking priests to open churches and lead prayers. People are also being asked to take responsibility for promoting peace through this effort. Taking time out of your daily life to pray improves your faith and gives other believers a sense that they are working toward the same goal. It's important that the Pope is focusing on the Holy Rosary in particular. It is a prayer with deep roots in Catholicism and is known for calming and bringing people together. This prayer can bring healing and peace, so Pope Francis wants everyone to say it. In the past, the Rosary has been linked to times when God helped people through hard times, and this appeal comes from those customs of hope and strength. The timing of the Pope's speech and other important events in the Church's calendar make it even more important. He chose this time to draw attention to the Jubilee year of prayer and repentance, a time for healing and spiritual growth. The Pope calls for prayer around the world at 7 p.m. local time, asking Christians worldwide to pray at the same time, creating a spiritual chain of hope and faith. Let's look into the current wars in the world that prompted the Pope to share the alarming message. Escalating wars in the world and consequences. The world faces a unique combination of battles, all of which have very bad outcomes. The growing wars in the Middle East and Eastern Europe are not separate tragedies. They are strongly linked crises that affect people all over the world. Tensions have turned into widespread bloodshed in the Middle East, killing many people and making countries less stable. Meanwhile, the war in Ukraine is still going strong, affecting millions of people and involving countries from around the world. Both areas have a lot of history of conflict and are now flashpoints that risk the stability of the whole world. The terrible cost to people is one of the most obvious and direct effects of these wars. Homes are destroyed, families are split up, and many people die. As more and more people leave their homes in search of safety, the refugee crisis gets worse. Often these people don't find welcome or get stuck in the middle of political conflicts. Many neighboring countries are already struggling with their economies, and the influx of refugees significantly burdens these countries. The fragmented and slow global reaction shows that the current systems are not up to the task of dealing with such widespread suffering. Besides the obvious loss of life, these wars have had big effects on the economies of countries far beyond their borders. The energy markets, which were already unstable, are now even more so. The Middle East plays a crucial role in oil and gas production, yet supply lines are threatened and prices are skyrocketing. In Europe, the war in Ukraine has made energy problems worse, and countries are scrambling to find new sources. Higher energy costs cause inflation to rise, making the cost of living problem worse worldwide. Trade worldwide, which is important for modern countries, is also in danger. Shipping lanes in the Middle East are getting less safe, slowing down ships and driving up costs. Ukraine's main agricultural products have been destroyed, which has caused food shortages and raised prices.
On the situation farmers are facing in Ukraine right now, it's estimated the country's farm industry has already lost $4.3 billion from war damage.
These problems don't just hurt the budgets of countries at war, they also hurt the most vulnerable people worldwide. Countries that have to import food and energy are on the verge of crisis because they can't meet their people's basic needs. Geopolitical pressures are also very high because of the wars. Big powers are taking sides and intensifying the conflict. Countries that used to try to find peaceful answers are now stuck in a cycle of rising tensions and mistrust between each other. There is a big chance that things will worsen, which could bring in more powers. The stakes are higher than they've been in decades because of the use of advanced weapons, rising deaths, and the chance of unplanned partnerships. In this situation, Pope Francis's message is very alarming. His call for immediate action shows not only how important it is to end violence, but also how quickly the whole world needs to work together. All countries are responsible for working for peace, according to the Pope, who warned that more damage will be done if nothing is done. His advice comes when the world seems to be falling apart, but these crises are all linked, so everyone needs to work together to solve them. The wars are not just sad stories from the past, they are changing our world. The effects are felt in every region regarding the economy, society, and government. Apathy and indifference are spreading in the face of unimaginable pain, testing people's morals. It's important to remember that this is not just a political problem, but also a very human one, according to Pope Francis. We can't ignore the call for kindness, peace, and a coordinated effort to stop things from worsening. If nothing is done, the world could get even worse with the problem. The fights in Ukraine and the Middle East have shown us how fragile peace is and how terrible it is when it doesn't exist. It's clear from Pope Francis's message that time is running out and that everyone will have to pay for not doing anything, but it's not all gloom and doom. A future of hope. When the Pope recently asked people to pray and work together, it sent a strong message that hope is possible and needed when things are going badly. His message tells us that even small actions one person takes can make a big difference when combined with many actions. Everyone, regardless of their beliefs or history, can find ways to help bring peace and healing. Even though the world may seem divided, there is hope when people work together to help those in need and make their neighborhoods safer and stronger. People from all walks of life can make a big difference through grassroots organizations. Such actions as setting up food drives, giving money to shelters, or praying for peace together show that real change happens at the community level. Helping people who have been forced to leave their homes and are helpless, like refugees from war zones, is very important in today's world. This work not only gives people who have been uprooted by war material help, but it also brings them comfort. Volunteering at a local charity or giving money to foreign aid groups are small things that can make a big difference in the lives of people who are in need. Charitable work is a key part of getting help to people outside of communities. People who have money and people who need help can often connect through social aid groups. People can help these groups by giving them money, giving their time, or spreading the word about current crises. Kindly share your answers, thoughts, and opinions in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel to enjoy more videos like this. Also, click the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.